Welcome back to another final table commentary. If at any point in time you find yourself not caring for the commentary, there'll be a link in the description down below to the video and BCP Poker Replays YouTube account, so you can check out the action in peace and quiet if that's how you choose to do so. With that being said, let's hop into the action. We got a 2K8 game from WCOOP 2019. Rick V is going to start things off with the 8 and the 3 of the same suit. We're playing super deep here except for Sean Deeb with 11 blinds. Big Honey with Ace King O goes for the raise. Merla with 9-7 suited. 120 blinds deep, plays call. Moose Power with Ace 10 finds the fold in the small blind. Ace 8 2 flop, 2 spades for Merla. They also have 3 in a row. Big Honey bets a little bit over half pot. We see the 6 of spades on the turn, so Merla makes the flush. Big Honey with a redraw to the spade. Big Honey going to be in a tough spot here with Ace King. Super strong holding. We see a pot-sized bet on the turn. Big Honey doesn't make the spade the better flush. 9 of clubs on the river. Merla bets over pot 1.6 mil and Big Honey with a quick fold. We move along. King 10 suited. Big Honey's right back in there. Villy folds the small blind with a suited 9. Certainly not going to play that. Just want to introduce him. Rick V with the ace deuce of the same suit. Moose Power with Queen 8 suited. They'll find the fold. Rick V will get this through pre-flop. Ace Queen for Villy. We'll go for the raise. Sean with an ace on the button. We'll find the fold. Rick in the big blind with Jack 10. 2.5x size from Villy. And Rick goes for the 3-bet. Putting a hell of a lot of pressure on Ace Queen here. And Villy finds the fold. Nice play there by Rick. Sean takes the spot with Queen Jack. This will get through pre-flop for him. Back up to 11 blinds. Ace 10 for Rick. That'll go for the open. Merla with King 9 suited in the small blind plays 3-bet. Rick goes in the tank. Might just find the fold here with the old Ace 10-0. Would be cool to see a 4-bet. There it is, 540k to go. Merla put in the tough spot. Does find the fold. Nice play by Rick. It's been a few of those. Good start for Rick. Ace 10 suited for Merla. We'll go for the raise. 7 deuce in the big blind. Eventually going to find the fold. King 2 suited for Rick. We'll see if he plays it. Does go for the min open. Sean Deeb with a weird spot in the big blind with 10-7 suited. Does call. Flops top pair. Queen of spades on the turn after the flop goes check. Rick looking for a king or spade. We see the 4 clubs on the river. That's not what Rick's looking for. And I like the way Rick played the king high here. Picking up the flush draw. Didn't bloat the pot. Sean making a pair. Will scoop a very small one. Merla with another spade draw. Also the straight draw to the 10. Big Honey with the king of spades. We'll just find the fold on the flop. And we'll play some PLO now. Merla folding the suited ace. 10-9-8-5 for Big Honey double suited. We'll go for the raise from the small blind and take it down pre. Ace King 8-5 double suited for Sean. He goes for the big open pre. 3.5x. Rick calls the small with King Jack 10-8 with the suited Jack 10. Ace high board. Sean Deeb flops a boat. Flop goes check, Jack on the turn. Giving Rick a pair. Sean bets real small and Rick finds a nice fold. We move along. Folds around to Merla in the small with Queen Jack 8-4. They're going to limp it on in. Moose Power with 10-7, 6-2 with the suited 6-10. checks it back, flops a pair of tens. Jack 8 straight for Merla. Leads out and takes the pot down. Queen Jack 10-9 from Moose Power in the small blind. Plays 3x. Billy with the 8-6-5-4. Just gonna find the fold pre. 9-8-6-4 double suited for Big Honey. Plays raise. Rick comes along with a pair of tens and a suited ace. Ace King Queen 5 completes from the big blind and flops 2 pair for Sean. Rick looking for a 10 or king. Although the 10... Nope, the 10 is just a clean out. Sean rips it all in with the top 2. Rick folds top pair with a weak jack kicker. Ace King 9-8. Rick's right back in there. Merla calls with Jack 10-9-9. King Jack 4 completes the big blind. 3 deuce flop. Kings for Big Honey still holding up. Checks around to Merla with the pair of 9s. And they put in a small bet. Big Honey with a quick call, 5 on the turn. Merla thinking things through, checks it back. 8 of hearts on the river. Big Honey leads out small. Right around a third pot, and Merla finds the fold. 10-10-6 deuce for Big Honey. We're gonna limp it on in. Ace high board goes check. No 6 for Rick, just a pair of 9s. Big Honey with a pair of 10s, going for a thin value bet here. Blocking the Jack 10 straight. Maybe this is the bluff, betting full pot. Not a thin value bet, but a bluff. King Jack 9-3 going for the open. Flopping a pair of jacks. Not quite what we're looking for. Big Honey does have the straight draw to the 10 though. Oh, sorry, he's got Jack 3 for 2 pairs. My bad. Having a hard time reading the board. Queen 10 for Merla. Just top pair. Gonna go for the check fold on the turn. King Jack 5-4 going for the limp. King 2-2 flop. Not much doing here from Moose Power. They check back the flop jack on the turn. Top 2 for Merla. Bets a big blind and they'll scoop the pot. Big Honey with Ace King 10-6 with the suited Ace King goes for the raise. 10-10-7-5 for Villy. We'll see if he plays it from the big blind. Nope, just finds the fold pre. Queen Jack 8-7. Merla is thinking about it and they do go for the 3.5x open. The raise will get through for him. King 9-6-5 for Sean. Gonna go for the limp. Pair of 9s for Big Honey. Picking up a spade draw. Pair of 9s are still good for the time being. Sean leading out with the straight draw. And the pair of 6s. 9s hold. Big Honey takes a stab, blocking 8-9. And the raise will get through. This is kind of interesting. Like, is Big Honey bluffing there with the straight blocker, or are we going for value? Like, it just so happens to be Big Honey has the best holding. But I could see better hands folding. So it's a weird spot. Both with the pair 10s blocking the Jack 10 straight. And then now with the 9-9 Big Honey blocking 8-9. Somebody let me know. King Jack 10-7 double suited for Rick. They'll play call from the small. 8-8-7-4 for Merla completes the big blind. Queen Jack 6-5 for Big Honey, flopping an open-ended straight draw to the 8 or 3. We see an ace on the turn. Kings and 7s for Rick is good. Big Honey does have a flush blocker, but there's no bets going in. 9 on the river. Big Honey does take a stab on the river, and King 7 might find the fold here. It does. Big Honey with no pair takes down the pot, and we're going to switch things up to deuce to 7 low ball. 8-4-2 for Big Honey. We'll see if they go for the open here, and they do. A 4-8 for Moose Power in the big blind. Just finds the fold. 9-8-7 deuce for Sean Deeb. Interesting holding off 5 blinds. We're just going to find the fold and look for something a little bit better. Giving Rick the chance to raise the 6-5-4-2. That will get through pre-flop for him. 5s and 2s for Merla. We'll raise and take it down before the draws. That's not pre-flop. Obviously a no limit hold'em player here. 6-5-2 for Merla. Goes for the raise. Big Honey with a 5-3-2 calls. 3-8 for Rick also comes along. Rick picks up a 6. Merla picks up a 4. Big Honey makes the 10 low, but we'll see if they ditch that 10 to try to improve their holding. Merla goes for a bet. Big Honey calls. Rick also comes along. Rick makes the 9 low. Big Honey did chuck away the 10. He picks up a jack. And a 7 low for Merla. Rick leads on out. Merla goes for the raise. Rick calls. He's got to know that he's got to throw away a card, right? Merla's going to stand pat. Rick stands pat as well. Merla going for some more value. Hopefully Rick can find the fold here, and they do. Rick's played a strong game so far, and they find the fold after standing pat with 1 draw remaining with the 9 low. Rick wakes up with a 9 low. He goes for the re-raise not pre-flop. My bad. Before the draws. Rick makes the 8 low, and look at this. Big Honey as well making the 8 low, but Rick's is slightly better. Big Honey coming along, of course. Does chuck away the 8, makes a pair of 5s, goes check, check, and Rick scoops the pot. Big Honey knows exactly where they are, though. That was cool to see. 8-7-2 for Big Honey. We'll see if he goes for the raise. We'll see if he holds on to the 8, or do we just throw it away? 3-7 for Billy. Just folds the big blind and we move along. 8-5-2 for Rick. Goes for the raise. A 9 low for Moose Power. Goes for the re-raise. We'll see if he holds on to it. Nope, he throws away the 9. Makes the 10 low. Rick throws away 2. Picks up a 4. That's good news. 1 draw remaining. Moose Power with the 8 low. Rick making the jack low. That's no good. Moose goes for some more value. Rick has made a name of folding so far. When he finds the call this time, hoping to pick off a bluff. That's only the first time he's called down he's been wrong, and all the other folding he's done it's been a pretty damn good showing from Rick. 7-4-2 from Moose Power. Goes for the raise. No action for him. 7-6-4-3 for Moose Power. Another hand, they'll raise it on up. We'll see what Sean does with the 4-3-2. Plays call. Rick is also in there with 3-8. And Rick makes the 8 low. Moose Power with a pair of 4s. That's not quite what we're looking for. Sean picks up a 6. That's a good card for him. Just going to have to ditch that king. Ditches the king and gets another king. Moose Power makes the 7 low. And Rick is betting. Sean's coming along. Sean makes the 7 low. Sean will chop things up with Moose Power. And Rick V with the 8 low might come along. What do we do here? We're facing a bet and a call. Rick does find the call in the end, and the other two chop up the pot. 8-3-2 for Moose Power, going for the raise. 4-2 for Merla. We'll see if they call. They do call. Pick up a king 10-9. That's no good. Goes check, check. Ace 6-9 for Merla. That's not quite what we're looking for. Check away the ace though. Pick up a king. And Moose Power has the 8 low. Merla does beat some hands that are pairs, but you would figure they would chuck away a card with 1 draw remaining unless they're gonna bluff. Merla says, nope, I pick up a king, I just fold. Play reasonable. 7-4-3 for Big Honey goes for the raise. Merla comes along. What are we gonna keep? Chuck away the 8-9. Pick up an ace and a queen, that's no good. Big Honey picking up an ace and a 9, that's no good for them either. It goes check, check. They throw both cards away, pick up a king and a queen, whereas Merla makes the 8 low. Merla does check it over and gives Big Honey a free draw, who picks up a pair of 7s. Facing the lead, Big Honey can just find the fold. We switch things up to limit hold'em. Sean Deeb starting things off with aces. Philly folds deuces in the big blind. A walk for Sean, who's up to 7 blinds now. Deuces for Billy again. We'll go for the open. Big Honey defends the big blind with queen 3, jack 8 3 flop. Goes check, check, jack on the turn. Billy bets a couple blinds. 3 on the river, giving Big Honey a boat, and Billy's pair is counterfeit. Facing the lead, has an easy fold. 6s for Billy. Ace King in the big blind for Rick. We will see Billy open it up. Rick goes for the re-raise. Billy calls. Queen, Jack 5 flop. Any diamond, ace, king, or 10 would work for Rick. Billy says this is a pretty shit flop for my 6s. So they find the fold and move along. Merla getting a walk with the king queen. Merla with a king 7 in the small blind will play raise. Moose Power with ace 4. Yo, you gotta work?
Yeah, I'll just take my laptop.
Ace King for Merla. Ace 3 for Billy in the big blind. It doesn't play well. We'll see if you can find the fold here. That would be a nice fold. Ace high could be good. Billy deep in the tank. Does find the fold. Good shit for Billy. Preserve their life. Ace deuce for Merla. Ace deuce for Moose Power. Ace 8 for Sean Deeb. Moose Power goes for the 3-bet pre. Merla comes along. Sean Deeb folds. King King 5 flop goes bet call. 9 of clubs on the turn. Moose Power takes another stab. And this time it'll work out for him. Ace Jack from Moose Power going for the open. No action for him. Rick V with another Ace King in the big blind. Don't think he's going to get any action here. Big Honey in the small blind with 5-8 does go for the raise here. Queen 9-10 flop. Big Honey takes a stab with the straight draw to the jack. It is a dirty out as Rick has the ace king. Putting in the 2-bet on the flop. Rick will take the pot. 8-8 for Billy going for the open. 9-8 calls the small. Queen 10 calls the big. King Jack 5 flop. Billy puts in a big blind with the pair. Rick comes along with 9-8. Merla puts in the re-raise with Queen 10. Rick gets out of there. 10 on the river, that will do, and we lose Billy. What was Rick doing with the 9-8 there? Merla with 10-4 putting in the raise. They'll buy the pot pre-flop. Jack 10 for Big Honey. Goes for the raise. Deuces for Sean Deeb. Calls the big blind. 4-4-3 flop. Goes bet call. King on the turn. Big Honey puts in another bomb and a jack on the river. This is horrific news for Sean, who is looking to scoop the 630k. Hopefully he can find the fold here on the river, and he does. 7-9 suited for Merla. Big Honey defends the big with Jack 7. King 10 4 flop. Merla bets and takes it down. A walk for Rick. Ace 9 suited for Merla in the big blind. Getting a walk. Jack 10 for Big Honey. It's suited and booted, facing a 3-bet from Merla in the small blind. They call. King 9 3 flop. 1 club for Big Honey with a straight draw to the queen. Goes bet call 4 on the turn. Queen on the river, that will do. Big Honey makes the straight. Merla with a straight blocker. Could go for a bluff ski here. They go for the check. Big Honey bets. And Merla does find the nice fold on the river. King Jack suited for Rick. We'll go for the open. No action for him. Ace 8 for Merla. Goes for the open, and they'll take it down pre. Ace Jack from Moose Power will eventually get the chance to raise it on up here. Rick with a suited ace in the big blind. Plays call, and he flops the nut flush draw. Moose Power puts in a bet. 3 of diamonds on the turn, completing the flush. Turn goes check, check. Ace on the river. Bad card for Moose Power. Facing the lead, quickly calls. Rick scoops a nice pot. 5-6 suited for Big Honey. They'll go for the open on the button. Rick defends from the small with Ace 8 suited. Jack 10 comes along in the big blind. 9-3 2 flop. Big Honey with a straight draw to the 4. Bink. Backdoor hearts to go along with it. Big Honey will bet. Probably won't get any action here. Rick does have a straight draw to the 5. So he does come along and he makes a pair of aces. Bad news for Rick. Facing another bet, he is going to call down. Big Honey will scoop a nice pot there. King Jack for Rick will go for the open. Ace high board. Rick takes a stab. Queen 3 with the backdoor spade draw. Just finds the check fold. A walk for Sean Deeb. That's good news. They're surviving with 3 blinds. Queen 9 on the button will just fold. Ace 8 for Big Honey gets to raise and take it down pre. King 10 suited. Big Honey will raise. Merla with Jack 2 in the big blind. It's suited. We're going along to the flop. 8-5-3 goes check, check. 8 on the turn. Merla doesn't look to buy the pot here. Oh, we get a jack on the river. No need to. Going for some value on the end. We'll see if Big Honey makes a call down with King High. They say no thanks. Switching things up to limit Omaha high low. Big Honey with a suited ace and an acey deucey 3-7. Flopping top pair with a nut low draw. Big Honey will take a bet. Moose Power with kings and a straight draw to the jack will find the fold. Ace King Queen 3 for Big Honey. Be facing a 3-bet. Moose Power with an acey deucey, a suited ace. Flops a straight draw to the 5. Rick with an acey deucey, straight draw to the 5. Backdoor straight draws with a Jack 10-9. Rick takes a stab. We both make the low on the turn here. Rick makes a flush on the river. He'll get 3/4 of the pot. Aces for Sean in the small blind. We'll see if he gets any action here. He does go for the raise. Queen 9-8-5 calls the big blind, flopping the flush draw to the heart. We could lose Sean here. Heart on the turn will do. Big. Oh, but there's a low draw. Sean makes the low with the AC5. My bad. I thought we were losing Sean. AC deucey from Moose Power raises and takes it on down. Merla getting a walk. Ace Queen 6-3 double suited for Rick will go for the raise. King Jack Jack 10 calls the small for Merla. Moose Power with a bunch of low shit comes along. Ace of Diamonds on the turn. That's bad news for Rick as he makes his flush. He does make a low on the end here, so he'll get half the pot back as Merla wins the high pot with the flush. Acey Deucey for Merla going for a raise. King Queen 10 flop. Bad news for Merla. Sean with 3 of a kind will lead out. Merla with a heart draw. We could lose Sean if Merla makes a call here, but they're just going to find the fold with the heart draw. King Queen 10-9 for Merla will raise it on up. Moose Power with 4 low cards that are connected. When he's going to flop quite well here. Ace Jack 2. Merla with one hell of a straight draw. They're going to lead out on the board pairing turn. King on the river. This is going to be Merla's pot. With the Queen 10 straight. Moose Power doesn't make the low. Doesn't make their straight. Just a huge pot going Merla's way. We got 8 low cards going to war here. We see a King Jack 10 flop. Goes check check 8 on the turn. Goes check check 3 on the river. Big Honey leads out and takes it on down. Merla getting a walk. Ace 10 8-4 for Sean. He'll go for the raise under the gun. King King Queen Jack for Big Honey. Double suited finds the fold. Ace King Jack 3 for Moose Power will call. Ace 9 6 flop. 2 diamonds for Sean. Jack on the turn, giving Sean some more outs to the straight. 3. Are we going to chop this bad boy up? As Sean makes the low. Ace King Jack 10 for Rick will go for the open. And this open will get through for him. Ace King 7-4 from Moose Power will get the chance to open it on up. You're heading out of here?
Yep.
I love you.
I love you. Have a good appointment today.
Oh, thank you.
Let me know how it goes.
Yeah. Drive safely.
Will do. And we'll see you either later today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Cool. I think I pretty much have everything to take back. I obviously left you tobacco.
Sweet.
You'll need to bring this container of hard food.
Okay. But other than that, you got everything?
I think so. Maybe just take your gander around before you go, but
You bet.
alrighty.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day, buddy.
You too. Big Honey making a boat. Getting a nice pot there. 560k slides their way. Ace 10-10-4 for Big Honey. We'll see if he opens it up. That they do. 8-6-3-2 for Merla calls. Jack 9-4 flop goes bet. And Merla with the backdoor straight draws. Backdoor low draw finds the check fold. 10-8-5-2 for Merla, limping it in. Queen Jack 10 flop. Middle set for Moose Power on a 3 flush board. Checks things back. We see a 4 clubs on the turn. Goes check check. 9 on the river. We'll give Merla a straight here. 8s. Oh, there's no low. What? We both made a straight. My bad. I didn't realize Moose Power as well making the same straight. We chop it on up. Ace King 5-2 for Moose Power. Flopping the Ace 5 low. Sean Deeb with 8s and 4s. What do we got going on there for Big Honey? 8s and 2s. Queen of Spades on the turn. Ace on the river. This will give Moose Power... What the hell is going on here? Moose Power the high pot. Sean Deeb and Big Honey chop up the low. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-bitty-do. King Queen 2 flop goes bet and fold. Big Honey takes it with top pair. Ace 7-3-4 for Sean Deeb. And 2 big blinds. The ace is suited. They go for the open. Big Honey with 8-6-4-3 goes for the 3 bet. Merla in the big blind. 4 bets the ace queen 8-4 double suited. Sean sticks in his chips. 10-10-5 flop. No pair for Big Honey, but backdoor straight draws. 3 on the turn. We'll give Big Honey a pair of 3s. Oh, 10 on the river. Ace Queen will take the whole dang thing. Do. Jack 10 2 flop. Big Honey with a pair of 5s. Backdoor low draw. We'll bet and take things down. King Jack 10 6 for Merla, double suited, raising and taking it down pre. And now we're switching things up to Raz. This Moose Power has the Acey Deucey. Gonna have to find the fold facing Merla's raise. Merla picks up a pair, but it's a good looking 4. So they bet and take down the pot. 9-5-3 for Big Honey will go for the raise. Rick with 6-5 queen calls, picks up a king, that's no good. Big Honey picking up a queen, that's not a scary looking card. The 7 is much scarier looking. Rick finding the fold on 5th Street. Big Honey going for another raise, showing a 5. This will get through for him. Moose Power with the bringin'. Merla with 9-5 could go for the raise here. Looking at a queen. Moose Power with the 3-4 hidden has to find the fold. Another bring-in for Moose Power, that's unfortunate. Acey Deucey for Big Honey picks up a 9. They're going to go for a bet, pick up a 7. Rick with 4 to the 6 low. He makes a straight here. Do-beddy-do, ba-ba-beddy-boop-ba. Big Honey with a pair of aces and a shit looking board. Interesting pot. Rick bets and takes the pot down. 9-6 ace for Rick going for the raise, facing a re-raise from Merla's 3-4-5. Merla picking up a 9, a 5, and a deuce. They'll go for a bet ski and take the pot down. Merla with the raise. Big Honey with a pair of 10s has to find the fold as we're playing Raz. Moose Power with the bring in with the 8-2-10. Facing a raise from Merla's pair of 5s, and Merla will get this one through. Rick with the bring in. Moose Power with the raise picks up a 6. Good news for Moose Power. 9 for Rick. That's not what he's looking for. Rick should know he's behind here. He has the deuce and the 4, so he's reluctant to fold, but he does find it. Then has the bring in with the ace king 2. Interesting holding for Rick. Merla goes for the raise with the ace jack 3. Pair of aces for Merla. Big Honey makes 4 to the 9 low. They go for a bet and they'll buy the pot. Rick with the bring in. Merla with the raise with the 5-2 ace. This will get through for him. Moose Power with the bring in. A 3 deuce for Merla goes for the raise and takes it down. Merla with the bring in. Big Honey with 3 to the 5 low goes for a raise and no action for him. Moose Power with the bring in. Rick with 3-4 goes for the raise and takes it down. Rick with the bring in. Moose Power with the raise and take it. Big Honey with the bring in. Rick with the raise and take it. Moose Power with the bring in. Big Honey will raise and take it. Moose Power with the bring in. Merla with the raise and take it. Merla with the bring in. Big Honey with the raise and take it. Big Honey with the bring in. Merla with the raise. Big Honey with 4-3 does call. They pick up an 8. That's a good card for him. They're going to call again a queen. That's no good. Merla continues to bomb away, so Big Honey has to fold. Rick with the bring in. Moose Power with the raise. Rick with the fold. Rick with the bring in. Big Honey with the raise with the 6-5-4. Rick does call with ace 10-7. Picks up a jack. That's no good. He makes another call as Big Honey makes a pair of 4s. Rick leads out with the best of it. Big Honey makes 3 of a kind. He just needs any card below a jack. Or a jack would even work. Rick goes for another bet. Oh, Big Honey makes 3 of a kind. He has a queen low. Rick's got the best of it here. But his board looks like shit. Big Honey will just check. And Rick will scoop a nice pot. Moose Power with the raise is Merla with the bring in with the king jack 8, just gonna find the fold. Moose Power with the bring in showing the queen. We'll fold the 8 deuce. Rick with the bring in, oh, showing a 6. Merla with the a7-3 picks up an 8. Rick picking up a 3 leads out. And a deuce now for him. Rick's got one hell of a draw going on here, making 2 pairs on 6th Street. That's not what he's looking for. Going for another bet, and the bet will get through. That works out for Rick. Moose Power with the bring in, Big Honey with the raise, Rick with the call, or was it a re-raise? I think he just called. Interesting holding, or happening there. Big Honey picks up a pair of 5s. That's no good, so he's going to check back 5th Street, pick up 2 pairs of 10s. Big Honey turning their hand into a bluff here. Rick making the right call. His board looks like shit. With the king in... He's got the best of it here. Big Honey's got 3 pairs. Rick is not afraid to call down here. He does find the call, and what a hero call by Rick. What was he even playing? A 10 low? Not an easy call there, but Rick finds it. 3 pairs for Big Honey. Moose Power is going to stick in most of their chips here. Pick up a 10. Good enough card for them to continue betting. Pick up a 7-6-4. That's good news for Moose Power. He's going to go for another re-raise. Merla comes along, picks up a 6. Both players picking up good cards. Moose Power makes a pair of 4s. 10 low for Merla. Merla does find the fold. Is a 4. Looks like a good card for Moose Power. Now we're going to switch things up to stud. Rick with the bring in. Moose Power with the raise. Big Honey with a pair of 10s goes for the re-raise. Rick finds the fold. Moose Power goes looking for their diamonds. Picks up a 7 and now a pair of jacks, which are best. Big Honey continues to bomb. Moose Power puts in the re-raise. We're going to get this all in. Queens and jacks for Moose Power. We'll take this 1.5 million chip pot. Do 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 biddy do da. Merlot with the bring in. Big Honey with 8-7-6 with his suit. We'll go for the raise. Do 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 do. Merla calls, picks up a 6, not what we're looking for. We have the best of it, but Big Honey's aggression and an ace of hearts is a scary looking card. So Merla gives up. 8-6-5 with the bring in. Queens for Big Honey goes for the raise. Merla could come along here, and they do find the call. King of hearts for him. That's no good. 2 pairs for Big Honey. Will bet and take it on 4th Street. Pair of 7s for Rick goes for the raise. Merla with queen. King Jack of the same suit goes for the re-raise. Picks up a 9. Now a pair of jacks for Merla. And Merla's bombing away, showing that pair of jacks. Rick can just find the fold with the pair of 7s. Do-do-do-do-do. Jack 9-7 for Big Honey with the bring-in. Merla with showing a king. Goes for the raise and takes it down. Do-do-do-do. 8s for Merla. They'll go for the raise. Pair of 5s for Rick makes the call. Merla picks up a 4, not the best looking card. They check things back. Rick leads out with the worst of it here. The better looking board, the ace 10 queen, all hearts. Except Merla's making 2 pairs. So Rick should know exactly where he is. He puts in the re-raise. Drawing to a 5, an ace. And the re-raise will work. Rick played this hand beautifully. 2 pairs for Merla, has to find the fold. Rick repping the flush. Do 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 Betty do do. What a strong game from Rick. We haven't gone across all 8 games yet. This might be the 8th. as I think next we switch up to no limit hold'em. But right from the get-go, Rick opened the very first hand with 8-3 suited. Got it through pre-flop. You just tell right from the get-go that he's going to get respect with his raises. And he's going to have a fun time doing it. Pair of 10s for Big Honey. 6-5-4 from Moose Power, picks up a pair of 6s. 7 of clubs for Big Honey, and now 2 pairs, aces and 10s. Goes for another bet, Moose Power with an easy fold. Ace 5-3 for Big Honey going for the raise. King 8 deuce for Merla with the bring in and fold. Moose Power with the bring in with the Queen 9-2. Rick raising up the Ace Jack 10, facing a re-raise from Merla's 6s. Rick does make a pair of 10s here. But 7s and 6s for Merla, that's no good for Rick. He's going to need an Ace Jack or 10. A 2 would also work. Picks up a 6. Merla with a 10, that's what Rick's looking for. I wonder if he finds the fold here. Nope, finds the call on 6th Street. Picks up a king with a pair of 10s, and Rick will call down and see the bad news. Do. Ace King deuce going for the raise. Merla calls with a pair of 7s this time. Moose Power with a pair of 5s. 4 to the clubs. He's going to go bombs away. Merla picks up a club. And now an ace. All but Moose Power is showing 9s. So Merla's 7s can just fold. Moose Power with 9s and 5s takes the pot. Do. Moose Power with the bring in. Merla with 9s goes for the raise and they'll take it down. Rick with the bring in. Excuse me. Ace 10-6 for Moose Power goes for the raise and takes it down. Moose Power with the bring in. Merla with 7-4-3 goes for the raise and they'll take this one down. Do. Moose Power with the bring in. Big Honey with a pair of 7s. Goes for the raise. Looks like he'll take this one down. Do. Moose Power with the bring in. Pair of 6s for Merla. Goes for the raise and they'll take this one down. Ace 5-2. All the same suit for Merla with the bring in. Moose Power with a pair of 6s. Goes for the raise. Rick comes along with the King Queen Jack. Merla's coming along, picking up a 4th heart, 6s and 9s for Moose Power. They're going for a bet. Rick quickly folds. Pair of 2s for Merla. He's going to need a heart or a deuce. Moose Power's bombing away, picks up the deuce. Merla picks up the heart. 2 pairs from Moose Power. Merla bets. Moose Power will find the call here probably with 6s and 9s and see the bad news. Rick with the bring in. Jack 9-6 for Big Honey going for the raise. Ace 4 deuce for Rick, finds a fold. 6-3-2 for Merla with the bring in. Ace 8-7 goes for the raise from Moose Power. The ace has a suit. Do. Rick with the bring in. Merla with 3 to spades. 10-7-5 goes for the raise and takes it down. Big Honey with the bring in with a pair of 6s. King 9-5 for Moose Power going for the raise. Big Honey goes for the re-raise and Moose Power will find the fold. Big Honey with the bring in with 4-3-2. Merla goes for the raise with the King Jack 8. Picks up a queen. Bombs away as Big Honey makes a pair of 3s. Ace for Merla on 5th Street will bet and take it down. Big Honey with the bring in. Rick with the raise with the pair of 4s. Picks up 2s and 4s now. Big Honey with 3 to diamonds. Now 4 to diamonds. Has a straight draw to the 4-5 as well. Big Honey bombs away. Picks up the diamond. Queen high flush. Rick has the boat outs. Has a queen high flush draw as well. 7 of diamonds for him. He will pay it off and see the bad news with the 2 pairs. So he's switching things up to limit, stud, high, low. So there's one more game before no limit hold'em. Merla with the bring in, Big Honey with the raise with the 9-3 deuce. Rick comes along with Jack 4 deuce, all of the same suit. Picks up a 7 or a third low card. Big Honey with a king. Pretty bad card, King of spades. Big Honey just check folds. 3s with the bring in for Big Honey. Rick goes with the raise with the 9s. Ace Queen Jack for Merla finds the fold. Deuce for Big Honey, 4 for Rick. Rick with the third spade. Second low card, and Rick picks up a third low card. The 9s are still best. Big Honey's betting. With 4 to the low, picks up a queen of spades, not what he's looking for. 7s and 3s, that's not good for the pot as Rick makes 9s and 4s. Rick even gets the value bet on 7th Street in. Merla with the bring in, Moose Power with the raise with showing the ace. Rick comes along with 8-7-4, 3 to a low. 2 to the hearts, makes a pair of 4s. That's best, but Moose Power's putting a lot of pressure on you here, and he has the low draw. Rick does find the fold, Moose Power scoops the pot. Deuces for Big Honey, we'll see if he goes for the raise. They do. Rick with 3 to the 7 low. Plays call, picks up a pair of 7s and leads out. And will take down that small pot. Big Honey with the bring in. Rick with a pair of 3s goes for the raise. Big Honey folds. 3s with the bring in for Moose Power. 5s from Merla go for the raise. Moose Power comes along, picks up a third low card. And a fourth low card. Jacks and 5s for Merla. 6 will chop the pot. Providing Moose Power doesn't pick up a 3. Picks up an ace, goes for another bet. Merla calls down and we chop this bad boy up. Rick with the bring in and no action for him. Moose Power with the bring in. Big Honey with 9s goes for the raise. Merla with jacks. Rick comes along with 3 to the 7 low. Moose Power's in there with 3 to the 6 low. Moose Power picks up an ace. That's a good card for him. He leads out. Rick with a 9. That's no good. They chuck their hand away. Merla picking up the flush draw. 3 to the 7 low. King for Moose Power, giving him kings. Jacks and 7s for Merla. Moose Power's in trouble here. Jack on the river. Sorry, not the river. 7th Street for both players. That's a full house for Merla. He's going to go for some value. Moose Power sitting here with a pair of kings. Doesn't make his low. Finds the call down. Huge pot going Merla's way. Rick with the bring in. Big Honey with 2 to the 6 low. Picks up a deuce. That's a good card for him. He's going to come along. Picks up a jack. That's no good. Goes check, check. 6th Street brings Big Honey a pair and 3 of a kind. Rick making a pair of kings on 7th Street. Big Honey leads out, showing the 10s. Rick without a low finds the fold. Nice fold, Rick. Rick with the bring in with 3 to the 5 low, facing a raise for Moose Power. With 3 to the 8 low, pair of 3s for Moose Power. 4 to the 8 low for Big Honey. Picks up a jack. That's no good. Rick with a straight draw to the 6. 3 of a kind for Moose Power. Big Honey makes their straight. Moose Power. Did he make a low here? Rick makes the low. He's going to chop it up with Big Honey there. And Moose Power's out in 4th. Big Honey with the bring in. Rick with the raise and take it down. Merla with the bring in. Queen Jack 5 for Big Honey. Probably going to find the fold. Rick with a pair of 6s goes for the raise and they'll take this one down. 9-6 deuce for Rick with the bring in. 8-7-2 for Big Honey goes for the raise and take it. Rick with the bring in with a pair of 4s. He's going to come along, pick up a third low card, lead on out and take the pot down. Rick with the bring in and no action for him. Merla with the bring in. Pair of 8s for Big Honey. They're just going to find the fold. Rick calls with Jack 10-3, picks up a 7. Merla picks up a 3, goes check, check. 4 for Rick is no help. 7 for Merla, giving him some straight draw potentials. Both players make a pair on 6th Street. Rick leads out with the 4s, showing. Makes 10s and 4s on 7th Street. Merla sitting there with a pair of 9s, finds a nice fold. Merla with the bring-in. Rick with the call again with Jack 10-3, picks up a king, bombs away. The bet will work for him. 6s for Merla. Goes for the raise. Rick with the bring-in with 10s. Plays call. Picks up a 9. Oh, 3 of a kind for Rick. Fuck the 9, it doesn't matter. Rick's making 3 of a kind. The pair of 6s is bombing away. Merla doesn't improve, just the pair of 6s. Will call down here. Rick showing a weak ass board. Merla says my 6s could be good. Pair of 7s for Big Honey. We got a 6-5-4 for Rick. Picks up a king and a queen. That's no good. Might find the check fold on 5th Street here. Big Honey showing some low cards. Pair potentials. Big Honey will take it there, and we're going to switch things up to no limit hold'em. Rick's going to start things off with queen, queen. Merla with ace, queen in the big blind. Rick starts things off with a limp. Raise to 3 blinds from Merla. We're playing just under 60 blinds deep. Rick makes it, I think, 10. Merla jams it all in. Rick quickly calls. Oh boy, and he flops the flush draw. Makes the flush on the river. No ace for Merla. Rick now up to 113 blinds. 5.6 million chips. Huge cooler in their favor. Merla gonna try to recoup some chips here with the 5-4. We'll see if he takes a stab on the Jack turn. That he does. Big Honey with 7 high finds the fold. 10-7 suited for Big Honey, gonna limp it on in. Rick checks back the Jack deuce. Ace King 3 flop. Rick with 3 to a flush. Some backdoor straight draws. Checks it back, 9 on the turn. The Jack high is best here for Rick, and he's going to take a stab. And the bet's going to get through for him. 9 deuce off is going to limp it on in. Jack 6 checks it back, flops bottom pair. Rick takes a stab. Another spade for him. We'll see if he goes bombs away. The ace pairs the board. Rick slows down. Merla puts in a small bet, 60k into 220. And Rick puts in the check raise here. And the pair of 6s fold. Spades complete on the turn. Rick reps the spades. One hell of a play there by Rick. It's not been the first one. Ace 5 for Merla. Ace 6 for Big Honey will fold the small blind. Rick in the big blind with 4-4. Plays 3 bet. Merla folds the ace 5. King 9 for Big Honey. Raising the button. Rick calling the small. 8-5-2 flop. Goes check, check. 10 on the turn. Rick leads out and takes the pot down. 9-5 for Rick going for the open. King Jack calls the small. Queen 9-8 flop. Rick with a pair bets 80k into about 300. Merla looking for a King Jack or 10. Backdoor clubs also work. Or the check raise, getting the pair of 9s to fold on the flop. Rick wakes up with another strong pocket pair. Goes for another 3 bet from the big blind. Merla with Jack 10, very playable holding. Does call, flops a straight draw to the king. Although it's ace high board, there's a queen out there. There's 3 spades. Rick bets super small. Might keep the straight draw in here. Merla goes for the check, or not the check raise, sorry, just the re-raise. Then what the hell do we do here with jacks with a spade? Jacks with a spade call. 7 of diamonds on the turn. Merla's gotten himself into quite the pickle here. Deuce of clubs on the river. 1.6 million chips in the middle. Rick checks the river. And Merla gives up the bluff. Rick will scoop a nice pot. Ace queen for big honey. They'll raise the button. Do-do-do-do-do. Merla with 10-6-0 in the big blind. Thinking things through. Plays call. Queen 9-6 flop. Top pair, top kicker for big honey. We'll see what size he goes for. A little bit less than half pot. Merla plays call with the pair of sixes. 4 on the turn. Ace queen bombs away. Merla does fold to 6 on the turn. King 8 for Rick. Raising the button. And you'll get it through pre-flop. Queen 3 for Merla. Thinking about raising the button, but we'll find the fold off the 43 big blind stack. Instead we see a limp pot. 9-9-7 flop goes check check. Ace on the turn. Big honey with the pair of sevens. Thinking about going for some value. Instead he just checks. Giving Rick a free river. King of hearts. Rick won't take a stab. Big honey will scoop a little pot. King jack. Big honey's right back in there. Merla with 5-3 suited will defend the big blind. Queen jack deuce flop goes check check. King on the turn. Big honey with 2 pairs goes for about a 40% pot size bet, and the bet gets through. A walk for the queen jack in the big blind. Ace 9 for big honey in the small blind this time. Plays limp. Rick with 8-4 suited plays 4x. Big honey calls, makes a pair of 9s. Rick with a backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw, checks back the flop. 3 of clubs on the turn. So all of Rick's outs are gone. Big honey takes a small stab on the turn, and that will work out for him. Or no value to be had, depending on which way you want to look at things. Ace 4 for Merla, flopping the straight. Big honey does block the nuts. In position, they'll take a stab. Face the check raise from Merla, and big honey floats. Looking for a 4. Get the queen of clubs on the turn. Merla checks it on over. Big honey says my king high could be good here, no need to bluff. Get the 5 of hearts on the river. Merla bombs away, over bet, and the bet will get through. Rick with queen deuce going for a raise on the button. Merla with ace jack in the small blind. Plays call, 7-6-6 flop. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-biddy-do-do. Rick bets a third. Yo.
950 or 9?
940.
Oh, 940. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Rick bombs away. Picking up the flush draw on the turn here. Merla does fold ace jack and we move along. Playing some pot limit Omaha now. Pair of jacks for Merla. Ace jack deuce deuce for big honey in the small blind. Finds the fold. Ace 9-6-5 for Rick, defends the big blind. He flops a pair and the flush draw turns 2 pairs. Merla with a redraw to the jack or club. 8 is not what we're looking for. 2 pair for Rick is good. Merla could bluff, but they're just going to check down the jacks and see the bad news. Ace king king deuce for Rick goes for the raise. Flops top pair. Merla with a pair of queens. Backdoor club draw. Merla does come along. 5 on the turn. Ace king bets real small once again, and Merla does find the fold, picking up no outs. 10-8-5-4 for Rick, double suited. He'll go for the open. Big honey calls. Ace king 9-4 flops the frickin' nuts. 6 on the turn, and Rick will take a stab, rep the boats, make a straight on the river. That's no good though. Big Honey with the flush will take a small one. Limp pot. King 4 flop. Big Honey has the flush draw with the pair. They'll check things over. Rick with the Queen 10 4 3 with the pair will stab and get the pot. Walk for Merla. Ace King 9 3 for Rick will raise the button. Ace Jack 5 7 for Big Honey calls the big blind. 9 6 deuce flop. No spades for Big Honey. Does have the straight draw to the 8. We'll just check fold though. King Jack 9 4 for Merla, double suited, going for the raise, flopping the flush draw and backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. Lots going on for Merla. Rick with 2 pairs, 6s and 10s. Facing the small bet on the turn, will call 8 on the river. Rick doesn't improve, so he goes for the check fold. Jack 10 9 4 for Big Honey, thinking about going for the open without a suit. They do. Face the 3-bet from the small. Rick with 3 kings and a queen that's suited. The 3-bet gets through. King Queen 9 7 going for the limp, giving Merla a chance to come along with Ace Jack 7 4. Queen 9 6 5 checks it back. Ace 9 6 flop, all clubs, goes check check check. 10 on the turn. Nobody with a straight. Merla with top pair. Deuce on the river. Sorry, 9s and 6s for Big Honey. I didn't even see it. Rick will take a stab with the King Queen 9 7 rep 8 7. Betting full pot here. Merla calls and Big Honey folds the best of it. Funny hand. Rick flopping the straight. Merla with 3 of a kind. Betting real small. Rick has the heart draw. Merla with the boat draw. 10 of clubs on the turn. Rick improves to the flush. Merla doesn't make his boat here. He'll just check it down and Rick will take a small one. Ace 10 9 9 for Big Honey going for the open. Merla flopping 2 pairs with the straight draw. It's going to lead on out. 9 on the turn, giving Big Honey a set. Merla checks it on over. A queen will not do for Merla, making 3 pair. With the straight blocker, they check it over. And Big Honey checks and scoops the small pot. King Queen 10 9 for Rick. We'll go for the 3x open. Queen Jack 10 5 for Merla calls the small. Queen 9 7 6 for Big Honey calls the big blind. Ace 5 3 flop goes check check check. Ace on the turn. Checks around again. 7 on the river. Pair of 7s for Big Honey will take the pot. Merla with jacks and 6 5 goes for a raise on the button. Rick calls with 4 to the 5 low. That's not the game we're playing. He flops a straight draw. Straight draw doesn't come to fruition, but he's going to lead out on the board pairing river. Jack's in a weird spot. We'll see if Merla can make the right call down. This time Rick will get one through. Kings for Merla in the big blind. Plays 3-bet. Ace Jack Jack 7 for Big Honey with a suited ace. Will call Ace Queen 8 flop. All good news for Big Honey. Top pair with the nut flush draw. Facing the lead, we'll just rip it in, and Merla has to fold the kings. Limp pot, Queen 10 6 flop. 9 still best for Big Honey. King on the turn, giving Big Honey a straight. Merla leads out. Deuce on the river. Marla could rep the flush here and go for another bet, and they do. It's very small though, so Big Honey is going to find the call down, and Marla's going to show him the bluff. Aces with the suit for Big Honey. Looks like a limp pot. 4s for Rick. Take a stab. 5 on the turn. Goes check, check. 7 on the river. Big Honey leads out for small. And Rick folds. Deuce to 7 low ball again. 6-3 for Rick will just fold. Marla's surviving. 7-3-2 for Rick goes for the raise. 7-5-3 for Big Honey will play call. Check away a jack and a 7. Make a flush, but that's no good. We got an 8. So we can check away the king, pick up another king. Uh-oh, Rick makes the 8 low. Big Honey's drawing, makes the 10 low. Whoo, we'll call down here and Rick will scoop a nice pot. 8 million chips for Rick. A little over 3 million left to collect. 7-6-4-2 for Rick, picking up a jack, that's no good. A 3 for Marla, that's no good. He picks up an ace, that's no good. 10 low versus a 9 low, Rick will scoop the pot. Just like that, Marla's out in third. Big Honey surviving with 11 blinds, or 11 bets. With the 6-5-4-2, picks up a king. Big Honey will bomb away, throw it away, pick up an ace. A 9 low for Rick. Rick says, let's get this in. 10 low for Big Honey, Rick standing pat. Rick will check down on the 3rd street and scoop the pot. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-biddy-do-da. 7-8-6 for Rick, going for the raise. Big Honey with 3 of a kind. Gonna have to reluctantly fold. 6-5-4 for Big Honey. We'll limp it on in. Throw away the ace and the queen. Interesting to see what Rick holds on to. The 8 and the 5. Pick up a 6. Big Honey makes the 9 low. Rick will check away his jacks. Pick up a 5 and a 10. Not quite what we're looking for. Facing another bet. We'll just find the fold. 8 and a 5 for Rick. 7-6-4 for Big Honey. Doesn't pick up any good cards. Rick picks up 2 good cards, the 6 and the 3. He'll check away a 3. Big Honey will check away the ace and the 6 if he's going to come along. He says, no, I'm actually priced out of the pot here. 7-8 for Rick will go for the raise. 8-6-2 for Big Honey calls. Picks up a 2 and a 10. Rick makes a pair, gets a 4. Oh, another pair for Rick. That's not what he's looking for, but Big Honey gets an ace and a 10. Not what they're looking for. And this pot's brewing. Big Honey will check away the ace. Rick's standing pat with the pair. If Big Honey checks it down, he's going to win the pot. If he can call here. Rick with the bluff, they'll get one through. Big Honey loses a big one there. What a game by Rick. 7-6 for Big Honey. We'll see if he holds on to the 9. Nope, we're not even going to play. 5 and a 7 for Rick. We'll go for the raise and they'll take it down. 8-4-3 for Big Honey. We'll raise and take it down. Limp pot. Rick throws away all but the 4, and wow, does he pick up some good cards. Just has to chuck away the jack. Big Honey picks up a king and a 7. They'll hold on to the 7, chuck the king. Make a 10 low, which is best right now. Big Honey will survive here, providing they don't fold. I mean, the pot's way too large to fold, I'm pretty sure. $1 million chips in the middle. 180k is the bet. Big Honey has to call down. He does find the call and he survives. A 3 and a 4 for Big Honey. Go for the limp. 6 deuce for Rick. Picks up a 5 and a 4 and a 9. So the 9 low leads out. Big Honey picks up some good cards. Just going to chuck away a 7 now. Pick up another 7. That's bad news for Big Honey. This pot's going to brew. Now an ace for Big Honey. No draws remaining. Rick with the 9 low will scoop a million chips. 6-5-3 for Big Honey, going for the raise. 6 deuce for Rick, will pick up an 8. 2 pair for Big Honey, that's bad news. Things go check check. Ace and a queen for Big Honey. Not good cards, but Rick has the pair. Rick thinking about putting in the bluff here. Instead, we're just gonna throw away 2 cards, pick up a pair of 2s. Big Honey making the straight. We'll put in the bet and get it through. 5-6 for Big Honey. No action for Rick. I think he had 3-4. 3-4 deuce this time for Rick. We'll raise and take it down before the draws. Big Honey down to 500k, has a 6 and a 4. Is gonna have to call here. Picks up a deuce. We'll chuck the ace and the king away. 8-10, making a 10 low. Rick with a pair of 9s. He does have the draw to the 9 low. Big Honey says, this pot I'm all in. Rick says, okay, let's do it, bucko. Rick makes a pair of 7, so Big Honey will survive. 4 to the 10 low for Big Honey. We'll just fold. Couple middling cards in this low ball game. Says this is no good. A 3 and a deuce and a 7 for Rick. He'll go for the raise. 8-5-7 hangs in there for Big Honey, picking up a 3. Pair of 3s and 4 to the 9 low for Rick. Will bet. Big Honey does make the 8 low here. Rick with a 9 low puts in a bet. If Big Honey can hang on in there, 1 draw remaining. Don't throw away the 8. Okay, good stuff. Stands pat. Rick is gonna have to imagine that his 9 low is no good here. Stands pat. Big Honey leads out. And Rick does find the fold. 6-3-2 for Big Honey. We'll raise it on up. 6-5-3 for Rick. Gets a king and a jack. That's no good. Good thing Big Honey picks up a king and a 9. Both players pick up good cards. Rick making the straight has to throw one away. Picks up a 5. That's a pair. Big Honey. Wait, what? Did he have a straight? Did he have a pair? Oh, pair of 3s. My bad. I thought he had a 6 low somehow. It's like, what are we doing? The pair of 3s find the fold. We move along. We're switching up to limit hold'em. Starting things off. Big Honey has a pair. Facing a bet on the ace turn. Will call. Flush completes on the river. It's another overcard to the 6. Rick puts in another bet here. Putting a lot of pressure on the pair of 6s. And the 1 million chip slide Rick's way. Big Honey down to 3 bets. Making a pair of 4s. Rick with the open ender. Plays call, makes a pair of 7s, which is now the best holding. Leads on out, and Big Honey folds the queen 4. Queen 5 for Rick. Limp pot. 8-5 doesn't flop anything. Rick bets and takes it on down. Jack deuce suited. Big Honey will stick it all in. Rick with 8s. We got a flush draw and straight draw on the flop for Big Honey. Flush draw comes in for him. Now a pair of 3s. We're pretty well going to get this one in. Rick doesn't make a pair just quite yet. A queen or a 4. Big Honey leads on the ace high board and he'll take it down. Ace 3 versus 6-3. Queen 10 7 flop. Goes check check king on the turn. Goes check check ace on the river. Putting a 1-liner to a jack out there. Big Honey making top pair. Rick taking his stab with the 6 high and Big Honey pays it off. Big Honey making 2 pair on the turn here. Rick with second pair. Going for some more value. Facing the raise. Check raise that is. On the turn, we'll just find the fold and good news for him. Queen 10 with a straight draw to the 9 is going to continue. Rick instead makes 3 of a kind and he'll scoop 1.5 million chip pot. King deuce for Rick, raising it up. Queen 6 defends the big blind, turns a pair. Ace on the river, this will be Big Honey's pot. 500k slides his way. 9-8 raising the button. Right, or is this a limp pot? Pay more attention, big guy. 9-8 will put in the bluff on the river, scooping the 500k. Rick flopping the flush draw, Jack 5 for Big Honey, just finding the fold. King, queen versus 3 deuce. Big honey will just fold the big blind. Jack 5 suited. This is a limp pot. Queen 10 8 flop. Bottom pair for Rick will defend. Straight draw for big honey. To the ace or 9 will bet and take the pot down on the turn. Limp pot. Ace queen jack flop goes check check. Rick with the pair, 2 pairs, queens and 4s, leads out and takes it down on the turn. Queen 6 versus ace 6, limp raise. Ace high board. Rick takes another stab and the stab will get through. Both players with the pair here. Big honey with the top is the pairs. Out of position will lead out on the 3 river and Rick will pay off the bet. Big honey with 1.6 million chips. Rick just under 10. Limp raise from the 7-9. Rick scoops it pre-flop. Rick in position with ace high bets and takes it down. Big honey will get that through with 10-5 suited. Ace 3 gets it through pre for Rick. Queen 2 gets it through pre for big honey. 9-10 for Rick. 4-10 for big honey. 8 high board. 3 in a row. Rick takes a stab and he'll take the pot. 5-4 for Rick. Flopping 3 of a kind. Big honey with the backdoor straight draw. Takes a stab with the ace high. That's no good for him. He's going to call down here and he's going to see the bad news. Rick with 3 of a kind. Big honey's now got to stick it in with jack 6. 10-8 looking for top pair. Jack on the turn. That will do for big honey. They will survive. Ace 7 versus queen 4. Big honey needs a queen or a 4 here. Nope. Rick will get the W finally. Scooping the 2K 8 game. Holy shit, what a show by Rick. I don't even know which hand to go back to. There's too many to count. Rick put on one hell of a show here. GG, Rick. I suppose that's the end of the show, so if you made it all the way through, thanks for checking this shit out. Hopefully we'll see you in another one. Adios, amigos.